Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Mike Luke. All right, joined by Jason Scheer. We got a lot to get to this show. We're going to talk about Arizona football's marquee players. We are going to talk about Arizona basketball. We've got some news for you. Also, people out there, stay hydrated. Long story short, won't go into all the details, but my dad, his entire life, basically does not drink water. He doesn't like the taste of it, all of this. So, he is severely dehydrated right now, and I am going to visit him, and he has not had a drink in over 40 years, so we can't even blame it on alcohol. That is the annoying thing about him. I am very peeved today, but being very peeved also means that I get to say hi to Jason Scheer. Hello, Jason Scheer.
Hello, Michael. Our dads are the same. My dad thinks that water has a taste and will not drink it at all.
I don't understand this. Just because it does not have a taste, who cares? You're supposed to. Yeah, June Thomas, the great June Thomas. Thank you. She gave birth to the prodigious Kevin Thomas. She clearly knows, but it's tasteless. It's not like they make it out like it's like metallic or something, or it's got paint in it.
It's amazing.
Stop. What? All right. Now, we got a lot to get to this show. So let's first we're going to talk about Arizona football's marquee players. Okay. And just kind of where they stand at because, going into the year, that was something about Arizona that I think that, you generally don't have a lot of players that are kind of nationally known entities, and Arizona's had that. So let's start with the good. Tetaroa McMillan. Listen, here's where I'm at with TMac. I am generally a stickler for heritage. And so how about that? So when Scheer will come at me and he'll say, "Oh, this Nico Mannion guy, he'll be Mike Bibby good." I always say, no, silly goose. And generally I am right. But Scheer asked me before the season, and here's where I got to give Scheer a little bit of credit. He basically said something to the effect of, I don't want to give him too much credit, but I got to give him some credit. He basically said, this dude, I think he's like, I haven't seen all the old guys, he said, but I have a hard time believing that any of these dudes is better than him. Scheer, you were right. This dude is amazing. I don't know in my lifetime, honestly, that we will ever see a wide receiver like him at the U of A. He is stunningly good.
I think most people would say that Chris McAllister is the best player to play at Arizona, right?
Yeah, I don't go back to Hundley and stuff, but in the modern era, right. Chris McAllister for sure.
I wondered, what numbers would TMac have to put up this year for most people to kind of switch that narrative?
Yeah.
He's probably on track for now. He has 350 yards in 3 games, so he would end the season with 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns. And
right. I mean, the dude is, like I said, the dude is just an absolute monster. Also, by the way, hit that like button. I am very, very bad at doing that. That is where my ADHD. By the way, June Thomas, we need to give you a lot of credit here. Your son, the prodigious Kevin Thomas, is partly responsible for keeping my ADHD in line. We very much appreciate that.
Not an easy task.
It's not an easy task. Generally on these shows, it takes 2 people to do it. And even then, it's generally not successful. But back to TMac, as I'm just proving my point about my ADHD. Dude, he's remarkable. And I remember I had Greg Biggins on one time. What does that guy know? And Greg Biggins said something that always stuck with me. He says, honestly, he says, I have watched a lot of players come through here. Top 5 wide receivers, best quarterbacks in the country, all of that. He is the best jump ball threat I have ever seen at the high school level. And guess what? That's why Greg Biggins is in the position he is. He's right.
Yeah, I mean, he really is. It's crazy because, the one thing I'm going to be curious about is what TMac tests in the 40, because he's not a burner, but
could he be sneaky fast, though? I meant to ask you this a while back. Could he be something where it's like a 4.47 or something?
Yeah. I think part of it is he's so big that he doesn't look as fast as he really is.
Right.
But he gets open. His instincts are wild. We saw it in the New Mexico game, that touchdown he had where he was able to dip on the route. His instincts are crazy. His catch radius is crazy. He's the best receiver in the country.
It's not close. It's not close.
It's not close. And look, I know the value in Travis Hunter. That goes beyond all that. And
TMac's better.
Corner receiver, but TMac is the best wide receiver in the nation.
And you were talking about him maybe being sneaky fast. I think he has high acceleration. He might not be the fastest guy, but he can accelerate, and his strides are very long.
That's a great point, Kev. Well, let me kind of expand upon that a little bit. Do you ever see TMac get caught from behind?
Not really.
Dylan White made that point a while back, and I mean it's right. Like, have you seen him get caught from behind?
Yeah, once he gets going, he's kind of just gone.
He is just a remarkable talent. He's a great kid as well. And I actually scoffed at him when I was interviewing him during at Pac-12 media or Pac-12 media day, losers, Big 12 media day. And I told him, I was like, like last year you had a really good season. He's like, dude, I left a lot of yards on the table. You're going to see better this year. And I asked him, I said, dude, you were out for like 2 to 3 months with a foot injury. And he says, that ain't going to stop me. He was right. The guy's amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He is incredible, as are you, Kevin Thomas. June Thomas, thank you very much for Kevin Thomas, by the way. Okay, now let's get to some other players here. Tacario Davis. Now, listen, I don't want to come off as a Tacario hater because he's very good. He's going to play in the NFL. And Scheer, you and I have watched rosters for years that had no NFL players. And like the best player was like Samaji Grant or something. And that's no disrespect to the Compton native. But when we're going to pressers and Ben White is just coming up with silly questions to ask him, as opposed to there was just no NFL players for a long time. Tacario Davis is an NFL player. I did have somebody that would know say this offseason, and I told you this directly, Scheer. So he said, listen, he's really good. He's not that good. That's kind of where I'm at with him at the cornerback position.
He's good.
He's good. He's really good.
I just don't think he's elite, if that makes sense. Like, he's not an elite corner, but he's good. I think
he's very good
in the NFL. I think that we kind of there were people that were saying he's the best corner in the country in the preseason. He's clearly not the best corner in the country.
No, I think you said that, didn't you?
Yeah,
I think you might have. But we
had me hyping up this whole football team, Mike. You had me going all over the place. Malachi Riley, 4,000 yards.
Oh. Hey, this is about you, not me.
Mario, top 3 pick. I mean,
I never said that.
We were going crazy in this thing preseason because we couldn't wait for football.
Yes. All right. So, but again, a good football player, going to play in the NFL a long time, but just not. And I think that was I think the guy that told me that, I think that was more or less true. Scheer, he said the preseason expectations that people have aren't really quite accurate.
Who would you compare him to? Like, he's not as good as Antoine Cason.
No, he's not.
Robert Golden?
I think he's got more. The thing about him, though, that's weird is he's got a lot of NFL potential. I never looked at, but it's probably at safety, like you said. I never looked at Robert Golden and said that's a really good NFL player, or that's going to be a real. I mean, he played in the NFL. I don't know. He's not as good as Cason. You're right.
No.
I think from an impact, Trevin Wade, that's a good one.
Yeah, probably Trevin Wade level.
Right. Yes. And again, we need to be very, very clear here. John Bartholt. Sorry.
Bartholt.
Yeah. Sorry. I apologize. I do apologize. But yes, I totally agree with you, buddy. I would take 11 of those guys every day of the week. So again, we're picking nits here. We are not knitting picks. Actually, knitting picks would be something with the dropped interceptions that are very annoying. But I think from an impact perspective, Trevin Wade isn't bad. He's a far better prospect than Wade. Yes. Also, how about this one too? Is just from a college impact perspective, maybe a Wilray Fontenot. He was really good in college.
He was good in college. People don't remember that. He was really good. Was he all Pac-12?
I believe he was all Pac-12, and if he wasn't, he was right there for and he was there, and he started from day one. He was a 4-year starter on good teams.
Yeah,
Darrell Brooks, good safety. But that's just kind of where I'm at with him because he's not Cason. But he's very Shaq Richardson.
I think he's better than Shaq.
He's better than Shaq, yeah. But I think the Trevin Wade one as far as college impact is probably fairly, I think that's a good one. So either way, that's where we're at. Now, the one that is the perplexing one of all perplexions. Is perplexion a word?
I like it. Just go with it. People, you can make up words as long as you're confident in it.
Exactly. No, I am, dude. I am, and I will never apologize.
Mhm.
Now perplexion. I almost said June Manu. Jacob.
Perplexitory.
What's that?
Perplexitory.
I like it. Yes.
Yeah.
Jacob Manu. This has been the one that just makes no sense. If you were to tell me going into the season that which player would struggle this year, Jacob Manu would have been the last one. And again, I do not pin this. This is one where I really, whatever the case may be, I don't know what it is. I do not pin this on Jacob Manu, but he hasn't been good. No matter who you're pinning it on, I still pin it on the staff. He hasn't been good. I don't know what else to say.
Right. It doesn't matter. We can analyze it. Is it Manu? Is it the staff? Is it the D-line? And we've discussed all three. It doesn't matter. He hasn't been good. I mean,
Right.
that's just the business. Like he has not tackled well. He's missed way too many tackles. He's out of position. He looks a step slower to me.
Right.
It's not good.
But that's just what's wild to me, though, again. And that's why I still think it feels to me like there's something bigger in play here. Because, again, I'm going to quote Greg Biggins because Greg Biggins says a lot of very smart things. Do you know anybody that knows Greg Biggins personally, Jason Scheer? Would you know anybody?
I bet a couple people. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Have you ever spoken with the great Greg Biggins?
Once or twice.
Yeah, I was going to say. But he said this dude's instincts are as good. Another guy, he said if he was 6'1", he'd be at Alabama. He said his instincts are as good as another guy. He said is about as good as I've ever scouted. You don't just lose your instincts. That's where this whole thing is just very confusing to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's tough watching players you know are good play poorly, right? Like,
yeah,
Manu, the problem is we saw him last year, right? We saw him come on the scene as a freshman and he was good. And then now he's like, if his name wasn't Jacob Manu, you'd wonder about benching him.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I don't really, like I said, I don't really understand this one. I don't really know. Now Hector says Manu's stats are very similar. No, but you got to watch it. It's one of those things.
Numbers. Like, I'm going to look this up. Like,
it's one of these things.
He missed like 50 tackles, and I know you don't like PFF. But
no, I hate PFF. Stop using it. You use it every show.
It's good to see how many missed tackles. Is that fair?
All right, fair enough.
I'm gonna look this up for you while you're speaking.
Okay, fair enough.
Just look pretty.
All right. Yes, I would know. I do look pretty. Not as pretty as Kevin Thomas, though. This is very, very true.
Jacob Manu has missed 5 tackles already.
Yeah, I thought it feels like I don't even know that it's so much about the missed tackles. It feels like it's just kind of out of place. It doesn't look like he's taking the right angles. It just doesn't quite look right. But again, that one to me is a perplexing one that I am not going to necessarily blame the player entirely. So that just is what it is. I don't know. That one to me is just wild. Okay, now let's talk about and he's better than Flanagan Fowles. Flanagan Fowles is in the NFL. Totally get it, but Tacario Davis, I will remember as a better.
I give so much credit to Flanagan Fowles, though.
I discovered.
I never thought he'd be like a long NFL guy, you know?
Yeah, no, I discovered Flanagan Fowles.
You did. This is true.
This is true. Every now and then, all right, yeah, all right. Now let's talk a little bit about Jonah Savaiinaea. Here's where I'm at with Jonah. The same person that told me about this is with Tacario Davis. He said, listen, he says, this dude's going to be a really good NFL player. He said there's some problems on the line right now where you're having, it's kind of putting some other guys in a stressful position. He said, when you put him on an NFL offensive line and his job is just to do his job, he said he's going to be just fine. He said he's going to be a 10-year NFL starter. He said, I would spend a first-round pick on him in a heartbeat, and I wouldn't even think twice about it.
You said that CBS mock you posted was wild. I don't think he goes that high.
No, I don't think he goes that high either.
They had him,
but
6.
But I do believe 8. I do believe that. Get it right. I do believe though that he's going to test very, very well. That's the other thing too. He said this same guy also said, I love referring to this same guy. He knows everything. Yes. He said this same guy also said though that he is going to test incredibly well. He said when it comes to strength, when it comes to just quick twitch, burst explosion. He said, I would be surprised if he is not at the very top of all the offensive linemen. He said he's an easy guy to put and say, listen, do I need a 10-year tackle? Cool. Do I need a 10-year guard? Cool. And he just said he's that dude. And he's been put out of position a little bit because of other issues, but he's an easy guy to project. So I have no problem at all with Big Jonah.
He moves really well. And again, I don't think you realize it until you see it in person. He is a large human being, and there's no fat on him. None. Right. Like it's crazy. Usually
it's not like steroid fat. It's not like steroid like Sean Oakman or something. It's like you're like,
I'm really curious if they test that too. Like, what's his body fat?
Right. Yes, exactly. And he also said too, wouldn't surprise him at all if when they does the 225, if he like goes for combine type records. He said he's just a total physical freak, a marvel that so I don't worry about that. Now let's talk about Noah. Noah to me is the uncomfortable one here because I very much like Noah. I love the family. I still have a hard time believing that this also isn't somewhat on the staff, but there have been plays that Noah's just missed. That, like you said before, Scheer, and every now and then when you make a good point, we want to reemphasize it. That play over the middle, he just missed, man. I mean, it could have been a totally different game had he hit TMac for that touchdown. And it was not only was it late, it was really, really late. There's just been plays too where I just hadn't been great. Don't know what to say.
He, for whatever reason, he's not seeing the middle of the field this year. He's not looking to the middle of the field, and when he does look, like he did on that Riley pass, it's just late. And I don't know if that's the offense coaching him, whatever it may be. He's got to figure it out. There's too much reliance on TMac, and obviously TMac is really good, but it's becoming predictable to a point. And he's got the bye week to figure it out. It's not going to get any easier against Utah. It will get easier against Texas Tech. He needs to be better for this offense to succeed. Everybody on offense needs to be better.
And we also need to be able to get him to the point, too, where, again, I'm going to keep coming back to this, man. Hey, stop yawning there, Scheer.
Oh, man.
Man, did you just let out a fart?
No, I don't do that.
You said that was a fart. You farted.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Either
way. Do we think that Kevin Thomas thinks farts are funny?
He
doesn't. He's thumbs down. He doesn't think they're funny. Kev, come in here and explain yourself.
They're not really funny, Mike. His mother's in the chat. You can't put him on.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Let's pretend June Thomas wasn't here. You don't find him funny, Kevin?
No, I really never have. I mean, I'm no better than anybody else for that opinion, but I just never personally have found them that funny.
By the way, Bear Down Cats 96. It's a good thing we have witnesses in this chat. He called Scheer out. We all heard it, Scheer. Nice try. Nice try. All right, Kev, you're not proving my point here. I was hoping that you would help me. You are not. You are dismissed. Shoo. But yeah. Also, though, when it comes back to Noah's farts, when it comes back to Noah, I need him to be able to hit the tight end, the middle of the field, like you said. That's just not being utilized at all.
It's just the offense is just off. Like, who on offense would we say is playing well?
TMac.
That's it.
TMac, Quali, and from what the coach or from what the person told me, Jonah. He said Jonah is just fine. He said
I think Wendell Moy's been fine for the most part.
For sure. Oh, and he did say that Wendell Moy, he said he's not an early entry guy, but he did say Wendell Moy is going to have a long NFL career as well. He said he's good. So that's kind of where we're at with the marquee players on this team as Scheer takes another yawn.
I didn't have my coffee this morning. I'm dying.
What's that? You didn't have coffee? I never have coffee. Kevin Thomas strikes me as a coffee guy. I don't think there's any, and he also strikes me as like the coffee guy that goes to like Black Rock coffee or something like that.
You got the foo-foo drinks? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I bet he does. I bet as tough as Kevin Thomas is, I bet he's got a little bit of a softer side to him. Defend yourself, young man.
I don't got to defend myself. One, I'm not tough. And two, I love some fancy coffees. Give me a
Kevin.
You want to hear my order? You want to hear my order?
Yeah,
White milk latte, oat milk with cinnamon. That's what it is every time.
I don't hate that.
Oat milk latte with cinnamon.
White mocha with oat milk and cinnamon.
Oh, I thought you said goat milk. I'm like,
oh no.
Pure goat milk. That makes you a man, Mike.
Yeah, no, yes. I will inject.
Makes you the greatest of all time, is what it does.
I will inject goat milk into myself at some point. Also, now, you see Kevin Thomas right there, and you might have said to yourself this is called a tease. You might have said to yourself, wait a second, Kevin Thomas looks a little off because he didn't have the Brandon Bills hat.
Yes.
Kevin, we caught, as the kids would say, we caught Kevin lacking. So again, check it out. Branded bills, these hats, they are fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Oh, he's gonna come back.
I'm watching the Patriots game last night. I don't know why.
And branded bills?
Gerard Mayo had a branded Bills hat.
Oh, man, I wish we could have that. Look at this.
It was really nice too. It was a nice hat.
We need to have this rotating bobblehead that Kevin Thomas is. If we could just get this like on a loop, this would be amazing. Now, be like Kevin Thomas and head to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Now, do we think the lovely June Thomas has a Branded Bills hat? And if she doesn't, that is poor childing.
We'll get her some. We'll get her some Branded Bills.
So she doesn't. She doesn't.
No.
She's lacking right now on the Branded Bills hat.
She's slacking right now.
Okay. Either way, check it out. Branded Bills. Be like Kevin Thomas and have a Branded Bills. Also, you might have looked at that Branded Bills hat and you said, girthy, strong, physical, Sanderson Ford. Man, those things just go together. Look at these things. Look at this truck. This truck right here could be you. And again, Scheer in the Sanderson Ford. Would you leave, Shelby, because of all the attention you would get at that point?
Oh, I would assume.
Yes.
She wouldn't be able to handle it. The jealousy would be out of control.
The jealousy. People, like when Kendall Jenner was in Tucson, they thought she was here promoting a tequila. No, she was here looking for Scheer in a Sanderson Ford. That's how big it is, Scheer. This is true.
Yeah, she said she was looking for the most girth, and the most girth is in a Sanderson Ford.
It is. No, check it out. Like I said, this is strong physicality at its finest. Check it out. Sanderson Ford. Here's the deal. Shop the Sanderson Ford playoff sale with no hassle, no pressure, and no nonsense. Football is back, and so are the deals at Arizona's largest Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. See dealer for details. All kinds of really, really good stuff. Check it out. Sanderson Ford. Girth, strength, physicality.
Every time you say that, I think of Ben One White and Sanderson Ford.
Absolutely. That is where we were at. Just take it. You've got to take it. Got to make it. All right. Check it out. What? Sanderson Ford, though. Okay.
All over the place today.
Yeah, we are. I'm all over the place. This is what, when I get bad calls from my dad, this is what, imagine having to raise me.
Oh, man. Maybe that's the real reason he's in the hospital.
Yeah, I was going to say after years of that. Yeah, exactly. I've been out of the house for 20 years. And, Brian Blackmore, the great Brian Blackmore, the whoppiest of whops. Whop. Okay. All right. Now we're going to transition to some Arizona basketball. So you got a call from our good friend. I texted the good friend, and then when I told him I know something, he stopped responding to me. Not happy with this person, Jason Scheer. Not happy with it. I don't know what else to say, but there are some things that we can definitely discuss. Let's talk about Tobe Awaka, my friend. Waka Flocka. Let's talk. Hey, could that be a thing? A Waka Flocka?
No.
Where's a Waka Flocka from? Is he
That's a rap? Waka Flocka.
Yeah, but I thought, isn't there a rapper too?
Yeah, Waka Flocka's the rapper.
Yeah, is he from the STL?
I don't know.
Oh, all right. Well, either way, sorry.
Waka Flocka is from Atlanta. We should have known that.
Oh, they're all from Atlanta at this point in the game. Like 21 Savage.
He was born in New York, actually, but he's
but he migrated down. I got you. Makes sense. Kendrick Lamar, a big fan of talking about Atlanta and Drake. About a lot of the anyway. I don't want to get into that, but yeah, Tobe Awaka, though. This person, very, very big on Tobe Awaka, believes he is going to be an NBA player. I am very curious about this because this person generally doesn't really, talk about guys in this type of way, as he does about Waka Flocka. I'm very curious to see him. Out of all the players on the team, I am very, very curious to see him.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it with the NBA.
Kind of the same way. But we're going to give this guy massive kudos if it happens.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, he's a big dude, really smart. He's going to play hard. I like the addition a lot. The one thing I will say is I believe that the coaching staff shares our opinion, whether they admit it or not, of a Rick Barnes offense.
Right.
And because
it's disgusting. It's wretched.
Right. Because of that, there's more offensive potential than Awaka ever showed at Tennessee because they know how to score.
By the way, June Thomas just said, she said, I would love to be at a tailgate. Sadly, I am in the loo. We need to get June Thomas out here. We need to, by any means necessary, we need to get June Thomas out here to a U of A game to back the A. This is going to be a cause. Maybe does ASU come here and play this year?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get one way, shape, or form. We're going to get the lovely June Thomas out here for this game. I don't care if we have to put a GoFundMe on there. We will do this.
Do you think the Colorado guys could pick her up in the RV?
Oh, in the RV when they're coming here from
like a roundabout
after they've gone 3-6 and they're still in their RV.
Big game this weekend, Colorado.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to the rooting guide here at the end of the show. Don't worry, this is now a thing. Okay, now we're gonna get the lovely June Thomas out here. Kevin Thomas, put that down in your for me to remind myself. We're gonna get her out here for the ASU game. This is true. Okay, now back to Tobe Awaka. So I'll give this guy the total credit in the world, and we're actually going to name him if this actually does happen. If Tobe Awaka in 2 years is in the NBA, I do not care if he says, don't name me, you will be named. So
name the heck out of him. If Awaka's in the NBA,
he's getting this dude's getting named.
Process based on what the person is telling us will be
right.
Good as it gets.
Now, by the way, here's how this works. Here's how our fun relationship works. He calls Scheer, and then I message him, and I said something. I got a good scoop on a U of A basketball recruit, and we were messaging back and forth, and then I sent him the good scoop, and then he just stopped responding. I know what you're up to. I know what you're up to. So anyway, but a great guy. Okay, now let's talk then a little bit. We're going to go onto the perimeter because I thought that this was an interesting conversation we were having yesterday about KJ Lewis, Jaden Bradley, etc. Let me ask you this, Scheer. Who would you prefer to be the second best player on Arizona next year? KJ Lewis or Jaden Bradley, and why? Because I can make the case, I think, for either.
Oh, this is easy for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Jaden Bradley.
I agree. Wow. I thought you were going to say KJ Lewis because you're
because I'm tired of bad point guard play. I just am. And if Jaden Bradley's the second best point guard on the team, it means that Arizona has a good point guard play.
Thank you. Because we know that KJ, at what level is he going to be good? We don't know, but we do know that KJ is going to be good. Jaden Bradley is going to be an interesting thing because I have said this from day one. I do not understand why he cannot be Jamal Shead. I do not understand why he can't. Jamal Shead literally averaged like.
I love Jamal Shead.
Man. I love him. But this is a compliment. He literally
goes beyond the numbers, though. Beyond the numbers.
Yeah, but that's what Jaden Bradley too. It's beyond the numbers. Girth, impact.
How many good point guards has Tommy had?
None.
Well,
none.
Has he really had none?
No, he's had no good point guards.
Yeah, you're right,
dude. Kerr is the epitome.
I thought he had one in there.
Kerr is no, he hasn't, dude.
Kerr for a year was pretty good.
No. You never wanted Kerr in a big NCAA tournament game. I don't care if he was hurt. I don't care. Because here's the thing with Kerr. He would still only shoot 37% from the field. And it wasn't like he was a good defensive player. He was a pretty good passer. No thanks on Kerr.
I feel like Kerr had one good year.
No.
Am I wrong?
No. Yeah. Yes, you're wrong. Oh, remember what Tiger Campbell said to our good friend Ben?
Right. I am wrong.
Yeah, he didn't have any good years here. Kerr was not good really ever here. Now I will say in hindsight, I definitely preferred him over Kylan Boswell. But here's a story about Kerr Kriisa. And our good pal Ben White was walking out of the game one time, and he asked Tiger Campbell, he said, well, you're going to get Kerr next year. And he said something to the effect of, I tell you what, everybody in the conference wants Kerr back. Kerr wasn't good. Now, Boswell was a totally different animal because we'll get to Elijah Rushing. Scheer, put that down because, like I said, I'm scattershot everywhere. But Kerr was, or Kylan Boswell, this to me was, and I love the coaching staff, this was on Boswell, this was on the staff. He didn't take himself seriously, and it was kind of pathetic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you're right. Tommy's never had a good
point guard.
Well, yeah, then it's definitely Jaden Bradley.
Yes, but also what I like about Jaden Bradley is he has a toughness factor that neither one of those guys had. And I mean, you could tell basketball means something to Jaden Bradley. It's not he's not just going to just talk a bunch of, he's not going to talk just a bunch of junk. not back it up. He wants to be out there. He wants to be good. By the way, is Kylan Boswell going to go down as one of the most unpopular players that ever came through here?
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? He brought it on himself. That's kind of where I'm at. You know what the thing that was wild about Boswell too is that they moved his dad out here, and his dad still allowed this. Why are you moving your dad out here if he's going? Never mind. So, anyways,
that's a good point too. What about Conrad Martinez?
Hey, what do you? I know that the staff loves Conrad Scheer.
So technically, Tommy's had one good point guard. And his name is Conrad.
Conrad Martinez. You said
Courtney Ramey. I saw someone mention Courtney Ramey. I've never been. I think Courtney Ramey is one of the most disappointing additions. I don't think he was awful.
He was okay.
He was awful.
You wanted him to be good. He was okay.
He was not. The thing that disappointed me about Courtney is he was hyped up as a really good defender, like a lockdown defender, and wasn't anywhere close to it.
Yeah, I will say this. How much of this do we blame because he's from St. Louis?
All of it.
I mean,
looking at his numbers, like Courtney Ramey was 40% from three. Not bad. Like his numbers weren't awful.
But he never attacked the basket. He just wasn't really good.
He was really, really, really bad in like his last 3 games of the year, like the ASU, UCLA, and Princeton.
Although I will say the UCLA game, that shot that he made when basically they just cleared him out.
Yeah, the thing is that shot, people don't realize that shot was his only points of the game.
Yeah, well, that was a good one to make. We blame Kevin Thomas because he's also from St. Louis, the Lou.
Yeah, no, Courtney Ramey was one of the people that I was really happy when he committed here because I watched him play at Texas and obviously watched him play in high school and stuff, and I was also very disappointed in him. So even as a St. Louis guy, I love Courtney Ramey. I love that he played here. But I mean, March was never his time.
Who's the best player to ever come out of St. Louis? Brad Beal?
Jason Tatum.
Or Jason Tatum, duh. Is it Brad Beal?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. We should come up with an all-time St. Louis team.
I disagree.
What?
It's always going to be Larry Hughes to me.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Dude, Larry Hughes. Larry Hughes in the same. You want to know? I can even go with the top 5 players in that class, if I'm not mistaken. It was Larry Hughes, Baron Davis, Corey Maggette.
Larry Hughes was insane coming out of.
No, he was. Larry Hughes was awesome.
What about Darius? I'm gonna go real
Darius
deep.
Miles.
Darius Miles.
Dude, did you ever see Darius Miles, Kevin Thomas?
No, in person, no.
No, I watched him. I actually watched him. He came out to the BCI here in Phoenix. Very, very interesting.
St. Louis has some good ones. God, what's his name? I think isn't LaFonso Ellis from there?
Yes.
Is he really? Oh,
I think so. I think so.
You guys and your ADHD getting us all back here.
I'll teach you about high school basketball, Mike.
We're gonna get into that. All right, but yeah, we only got a limited amount of time here. Lauren Woods, absolutely. Another one, I believe, Christian Brothers High School, if I'm not mistaken. Great call there, P.
David Lee's from St. Louis.
There you go. Again, lots of really good ones. Is that the first white basketball player
from St. Louis? Yeah, probably.
All right. Yeah. Seriously. Okay. All right. Now. What?
No, there's some guy from like the 40s.
I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
Like 60 rebounds named Bill. Yeah.
Like when they're like when they're talking about like
Google this best St. Louis players ever, and it's gonna be a guy. Hold on, let me see if I can.
It's gonna be some guy named like Wilt Wickerson or something.
Hold on, I'm gonna see. Number 1. Ed McCauley.
Yeah. Oh, Easy Ed McCauley. Yeah. From the Boston Celtics, Easy Ed McCauley.
Easy Ed.
Yes, no. Okay, now let's get back to some stuff. You guys are getting us all off topic here.
Yeah, unacceptable.
Okay. Also, but first, let's talk about NUTRL. We're talking about St. Louis. That's also called a tease into NUTRL. Now, you're thinking of NUTRL, you're thinking of St. Louis. Anheuser-Busch, my friends. Anheuser-Busch. Okay, keep it tasty, keep it toasty. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch NUTRL at flavored vodka and carbonation, St. Louis, Missouri. Now, we would assume that Kevin Thomas repping the STL. Is the STL a thing like the ATL?
Oh, 1,000%. The 314, the STL. Well, it's not really the STL, but just STL. But yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you would also like NUTRL then because of that. This is true.
Yeah, actually, I hopped in here because I was at the Phoenix Mercury game last night. Shout out Diana Taurasi. Shout out Erica L. Day. Yes, exactly. Yes, we know this.
Big fan of the prodigious Kevin Thomas.
Agreed. Yes. Also, pop into PHNX Mercury at 1:00 today. But yeah, no, I had a neutral for the first time last night. It was delicious. It was watermelon flavored. I will be having another one, not right now, but eventually.
Yeah, there you go, Kevin Thompson.
Can we get Kevin's analysis on Nico Mule? Since
why are you setting me up, Scheer?
You played well last night.
She scored her first points last night. She played decent defense, and Erica had a great tweet of her walking into the arena that did really big numbers. Because the outfit was awesome. So
I liked that tweet.
I saw you comment some eye emojis on that tweet, Mike.
I did, exactly.
I was a WNBA guy.
Yeah, I am. Because when you think WNBA, you think Mike Luke. That is the first thing that you think of. So
I mean, that's the first thing I think of.
Duh. And you know what else we also think of? Jets.
Mike, that tweet got 482,000 views and 8,000 likes.
Erica's?
Yes.
Holy moly. Good work. I'm telling you.
They're walking into a building. We're doing this all wrong.
Yes, we are. Exactly. Now, but one thing we're not doing wrong here, think about it this way, though. If she was walking into a Circle K instead of walking into the game, what would it be like?
Oh, that'd be not safe for work. I mean, that's basically...
We're talking about probably 2 million views within the first 5 seconds. Circle K, yeah, exactly. Erica L. Day, very good work. But anyways, join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Check it out. All kinds of good stuff. Rick Parents, I'm more of an MNBA guy. I am as well. The MNBA will be making a comeback. Okay, now let's get to some Arizona basketball recruiting. Scheer, these are your scoops, not mine. But I will give you the floor, my friend. The floor is rather large and girthy. Go ahead.
Let's see. Where do we want to start? Nick Kamania, Eric Bossy posted some new information on wildcatauthority.com. I'm not going to go too deep into that. Arizona is very, very much in the thick of things there. I know that people assume he's a Gonzaga lock. I do not assume that. I think it's Arizona, UCLA, and Gonzaga. I think it's really close, but Arizona is absolutely in there.
They're ultimately difficult to land?
No, I think they have a real chance. Also, Mike, there's a very real chance that Koa Pete is Arizona and ASU.
All right. If it's Arizona and ASU, under no circumstances can you lose that battle.
I agree. But there's a real chance it ends up that way. Houston's still in there too, but ASU did very well on its recent official visit.
Okay, well, there, like I said, I'm gonna say this from day one. If you lose a kid to in-state ASU, I will have some major concerns.
Yeah, that's bad. It's bad.
Yes, that's really, really bad. That can never, ever, ever happen. Okay, now, ever.
Braden Burries, Arizona's still very much in there. He is nowhere close to making a decision or anything like that.
Ultimately difficult to land?
I mean,
yes, you're gonna say it.
It might be. I don't know. He's a different one. There's no narrow list with him at all.
Okay, now Michael Brown. This is a kid that I never bought into. We made a segment about it just because I know that people must that it would be interesting. That guy's not coming here. The 5-star point guard from Florida. Talk about the epitome of ultimately difficult to land. Shout out Dogger for calling you out on that one.
Someone made a good point to me yesterday, someone and they said, look, at the end of the day, there's just a lot of schools in between Arizona and Florida. Yeah. Right. And so it is much easier to land a kid when you're closer to them. And he's like, Kansas is involved now. As of now, he's scheduled to visit for the Duke game. Let's just say I would be surprised if that happens.
Okay, now Hudson Greer. These are all Scheer scoops, not Mike Luke's.
Hudson Greer and Bossy posted the same thing, so it's the we didn't want him anyway, because Bossy literally posted the same thing this morning when someone asked about Greer. Greer had a bad summer, and because he had a bad summer, he got dropped by multiple schools. Alabama, Arizona, Kansas kind of dropped him. At the end of the day, Creighton stayed on him, and he made the right decision. It really is the right decision to go to Creighton. They never slowed down in the recruitment. It's a good fit for him, so that's why he went to Creighton.
Okay, now, let's also talk a little bit then about, is there anybody else that you had?
I told you the Tunde story, but I think I already told people that.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. So again, Nick Kamania, you feel good about Co-op, Arizona, ASU. You've also got to get in there.
I'm gonna go on though. I'm gonna say this, Mike. I know people are scared that Arizona's gonna strike out. I would be surprised if Arizona strikes out.
Well, that's a big problem if Arizona strikes out.
Yeah. And then there's some other guys that Arizona could get involved with for 2026 that it has connections with. I'd keep an eye on a few guys.
Okay, now let's see here, because we only got a few minutes here, so we'll be talking more about that next week. I very much like if Elijah Renas goes to college. I very much like Elijah Renas' chances to go to the U of A. Okay, now a couple things. Elijah Rushing, he is not playing. I'm wrong on most things, but one thing I told everybody out there was
we both did.
I said it first though. I definitely
agree with you though. So we're like a team.
Yeah, okay. I told everybody, I said, listen, Jonah Davis, Will Height, whatever he goes by, is the better prospect than Elijah Rushing, and everybody on the South Point staff agreed with me. Period. Point blank.
Big game for my guy tonight.
Yep, exactly. Now, he is actually playing at Nebraska, and he's on the 2 deep, and Nebraska's got one of the handful of best defenses in the country. Elijah Rushing, I do not believe will ever. If he play, I don't believe he will ever start at Oregon. I would be stunned if he ever.
It's going to be real awkward for all of us when Elijah Rushing's on Arizona's roster next season.
Exactly, but it is what it is. He's not doing much at an elite level school. I just don't see him being that dude. So that's kind of where we're at. Now it's time for our rooting guide. Okay, let's do our rooting guide right now. Okay, rooting guide.
Let's start tonight for you.
Tonight for you. Kevin Thomas has the rooting guide as well. All right, Nebraska and Illinois.
Spread is plummeting, Mike.
What's that?
Plummeting.
Isn't it 7.5?
Yeah, it was 9.5 like 2 days ago.
Was it 9? Well, that's too much. I think 7.5. So again, Nebraska tonight. We want Nebraska to win. Arizona State, Texas Tech, going all in on the Red Raiders in this game. I think the Red Raiders are going to win this game. Go Red Raiders.
I like this graphic.
No, this is good.
Just like you. That really looks just like you.
I definitely didn't go. I definitely didn't make this.
Yes, Texas Tech, big game for ASU. This is their prove it game. If they can win at Texas Tech, they're probably ranked. They're probably for real. If they lose to Texas Tech, there's still going to be a lot of skepticism about them. That is arguably one of the best and most important games of the weekend.
Okay, Washington Northwestern. It would be great to see the good folks in SRS take an L here. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Northwestern is awful, but It would be great to see that happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Northwestern sucks. So if Northwestern somehow beats Washington, it's going to be even more fun. I don't see it happening, but it would be really funny.
Okay, and then Colorado Baylor. We are all Baylor fans. Go Baylor. This is also a game, too, where Vegas is telling you that Baylor is going to win that game.
Lev texted me during the show, and he's like, can you please explain to me the Baylor-Colorado? Because now it's down. Colorado's 1.5 right now. It's a weird spread, and my answer was, it's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Vegas and Baylor's going to win, and they want you to take Colorado.
Right, exactly. And Vegas does not.
I don't know why, though.
Vegas also does not think that Colorado is good. I mean, they're going to be on that. So that is your rooting guide. Thank us later for that one. Okay, before we sign off, become a PHNX diehard. No better time. Become a PHNX diehard. Be like the prodigious Kevin Thomas. Diehard membership, free t-shirt, access to all premium written content, entrance to the Discord lounge, discounts on all event, and Scheer, where can they find you doing your stuff?
WildcatAuthority.com, the Wildcat Scoop podcast with Shelby.
All right. As always, very much appreciate you all. We will be back on Monday. Also, Kevin Thomas, I am going to, if it's okay.
Give your father a hug for me, Mike. Give him a big wet kiss.
I will. And if it's okay with you, Kevin Thomas, we're going to pull a clip or two from this to play this weekend that I will get to you. All right. On that note, though, you've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.